And CC, that right there was the key to the game, is Dallas found a way to upset that Saints rhythm, to upset Breeze and the rhythm that he usually likes, and that affected his accuracy, it affected his confidence, affected his footwork. How did they do it? How did the Cowboys upset the Saints?
And Jenna, you're so right. In sports, it's so much about rhythm and what you want to do and what are your habits and the things that make you very, very comfortable. And the Dallas Cowboys, what they were able to do, and you got to give a lot of credit. A lot of the players, the telecast, it was as well documented during the telecast with Troy and Joe, as far as Jason Garrett, his emotion before the players. And obviously it's very, very tricky to a guy who's not used to giving pregame speeches, and if you give one the night before the game, it can go one or two ways. The players can see through it, being like, oh, he's not being authentic, but obviously the Cowboys players read into it. They had a great game plan. Rod Marinelli, their defensive coordinator, did a tremendous job where they were very aggressive from the beginning. They would not let the Saints get into any wide open situations, as far as they were compressing the wide receivers at the line, and their linebackers were able to get off of blocks. Their defensive line did a great job. I know you were seeing that, not getting to that second level. So their approach, as far as they were going to take the fight to the Saints, that was the reason why the Saints couldn't get any rhythm. And the Saints wide receivers and running backs, they weren't catching the ball as clean. So it was a number of things, but the game plan and how they went. This to me was like a college energy game. The Dallas Cowboys defense played like they were in college. You could see Dak a few times when he ran the ball, the type of energy that he was playing with. That's the reason why the Saints couldn't get any rhythm, Chris.
Well, the biggest thing that I noticed in watching that game was the urgency that they were playing with, both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. And we look at that Dallas Cowboys defense, of course, you know you've got to be able to make Drew Brees uncomfortable and put pressure on him. But one of the areas that they had struggled with during the course of the season was on third down. They were outstanding on third down and getting off of the field. I think the Saints had 3 first downs in the entire first half. When's the last time we heard about a Saints offense only having 3 first downs in one half of football? You just don't see it. But that's exactly what happened last night. And the offense did a great job of playing keep away with Drew Brees, being able to put together 8, 12, 14, 16 play drives. CC, when you can have the ball for 36 minutes, guess what that does? That doesn't allow Drew Brees and that Saints offense many opportunities to score points. So I thought it was complimentary football at its best, and the intensity that I saw this team play with reflects the comments that were made by not only the head coach Wednesday night when addressing the team, but also the owner, Jerry Jones, at the beginning of the week when he says we have to play every play like it's a play in the Super Bowl. That's exactly what it looked like last night.
And it was also validation for how Jerry Jones, if you will, and Jason Garrett put this team together. Remember, we talked about early in the season. It's not the sexiest thing in the world, but they're going to be run by their defense. There's going to be defense first, and Dak Prescott may not throw the ball like every other quarterback that's throwing this season, but if they are going to win, their defense is going to have to come up big, and yesterday they came up big.
It was a breath of fresh air. We thought there was a number of things could happen in this game. Canty and we talked about it yesterday compared to the guys not here. We thought Dallas had a chance.
Yeah, I asked you.
And because of how they go about doing it, they got a lot of good young players on their defense, very, very fast. And when you couple that with, they got great coverage on the back end. Now, their secondary is very, very young, but the number of things that Dallas did that I was very, very impressed with, offensively, the second half with a 10-0 lead, if you saw on first down when they came out, they were throwing the ball when they came out the second half. Now, not great numbers, not success, but the pattern for which they were trying to establish, we're ahead, and we're not going to be scared, and we're going to win this game and not lose it. I thought that was significant for the Cowboys in that second half.
And I think they got improved quarterback play as well. I know I've been critical of Dak Prescott a lot on this show and on other platforms just because he hasn't done the things that you would expect for a quarterback trying to take that next step in year 3.
Especially after the first year he had.
Yeah, but some of the throws that he made last night were just big-time throws. I mean, you look at the double move in the first half to Amari Cooper. You look at the deep out to Michael Gallup. Now, he missed on a double move to Michael Gallup late in that game. That could have changed the complexion of it. But he also converted a key third down with his legs on that drive. So, I mean, there were some things that Dak Prescott did in this game that I have to say, you know what, you got to make those types of plays if you're going to beat a team that's led by Drew Brees and an offense as explosive as the Saints. But one of the things that the Cowboys defense did last night, that I was impressed with was how they were in sudden change. After the Amari Cooper fumble, they allowed the Saints to drive the ball down in the red zone, but guess what? They stood up on that goal line sequence. Jalen Smith makes an outstanding open field tackle on Alvin Kamara. Then DeMarcus Lawrence stuffs him in the backfield on that fourth down.
That complimentary football
they got the ball back.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yes, absolutely.
And then look at the sack fumble by Cam Jordan. They come right back 2 plays later, and they get the interception. So, I mean, those are the types of things that you have to do if you want to be a championship-level team. And I think the Dallas Cowboys proved to themselves last night, when they play their A game, they can compete with anybody.
Also, it was a breath of fresh air for people like yourself who made their living, making it hard on the quarterback. This was an NFL game where you seen guys getting hard hit, and they weren't throwing flags on the quarterback. So I think it was a breath of fresh air that, remember a couple Monday nights ago, we saw, oh, man, Kansas City versus the Rams. Oh, this is the new NFL. I told you, no, there's going to come a time in November and December where teams are going to play some defense. And you could see this is going to be the formula. If you want to be able to win, if you want to be able to go against one of those teams, you better have some numbers a lot like this. You can't let them have the ball 65, 70 plays. In last night's game, you saw the Saints only had the ball 49 plays. Typically, they're getting 65. NFL averages 65 plays. Points, we know it was obvious. They only got 10. They were averaging 37. The yards and the disparity in yards between them and the time of possession, I thought, was the biggest thing. Leading the NFL over 32 minutes. The Cowboys were able to flip that, and you can't win a game only having 49 plays, 10 points, and that time of possession. So those were the things that the Cowboys did were very, very impressive in last night's win, Jenna.
We talked about this win. If they were able to beat the Saints, it would be a statement win. It wouldn't just be another win and you're doing great in the NFC East. Oh, this is a statement win. So, but now you look at the NFC East, they're 7-5. Does it put them in another category? Do you see this team as true contenders now?
Well, I said a couple of weeks ago that I felt like the Dallas Cowboys were going to win the NFC East. And I know Nick said, I don't know if you can come out there and say that with the Washington Redskins leading the division. But when you looked at the schedule and how this Cowboys team is built, I mean, the identity of this team should translate into success into December and January if they play into that. And last night they did that because Ezekiel Elliott, he's the guy that has to be the catalyst for that offense. He had 29 total touches last night for 136 yards and scored the only Cowboys touchdown. So, I mean, if you run the offense through him and then allow Dak Prescott to pick and choose his spots to take shots, I think this is going to be a much more effective offense, and it's going to be a better team. We all know about their defense. It's a championship caliber defense. They got playmakers on all 3 levels, but I think when the offense is able to do what they did last night and being able to limit the opposing team's offense with the number of possessions, because the Saints only had the ball 9 times. You typically get 11 or 12 possessions in a game. So if you only have 9 of those and 3 of those possessions or 2 of those possessions, they were 3 and outs, I look at this and I say that's exactly what you have to do if you're that Cowboys offense. The defense will show up, but the offense came to the party last night.
Jenna, a few things have to happen if they're going to do this. They have to be ultra aggressive on the defensive end, game in and game out. They have to play smarter football than they played in last night's game. The mistakes that they made as young football players, Randy Gregory lining up offside, those types of things in big games, they will cause you to get beat. And on the offensive side, since they have traded for Amari Cooper, since the development of Michael Gallup, you can start to see they got more speed on the offense, and these guys are starting to make plays. Dak is a better quarterback, but they have better talent around him. So keep that theory, that same philosophy in 10 days. Try to duplicate that. That's how the Cowboys are able to get win number 5. Very impressive, 4 in a row, though, this late in the season.
All right, so the Cowboys beating up on the Saints, snapping their 10-game win streak. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.